Yo, what's going on YouTube? It is your boy Big Play Slay here, coming back with another video. And in today's video, we'll be doing a mock draft, 7-round mock draft with the Eagles making a trade a couple weeks ago with the New Orleans Saints. This draft class, defensive heavy, very built for the trenches. If you're a trenches type of team and you need trenches this year, this is your year to go get offensive line and defensive line. The defensive class this year is absolutely amazing. And the Eagles made a couple signings this offseason with Reddick, White, and then Pasco on the offense. I personally feel like this offseason, it's going to be, pretty interesting. Because, the Eagles have, I think they have what it takes next year. To be at the top of the NFC East and get deep into the playoffs. It's just a matter of building out the trenches, building out the depth of the team. And I think this is a good draft class. So let's start off with pick 15, where I have the Eagles taking cornerback from LSU, Derek Stingley. Call me crazy. I think this is the best man-to-man corner in the class. Yes, better than Sauce Gardner at man-to-man. Who's better? It's a very hard question. I think Revis and Sherman is where this is gonna head with these two. I think Stingley's just a better man-to-man corner. Stingley's very scrappy. He's not the tallest guy. That's why I think he'll lose a lot of those matchups one-on-one to a guy like Mike Evans because of the size difference. But he's a very scrappy player, aggressive. I remember one time where he kind of played Devontae Smith against Alabama, right? And, these guys have a duo of a matchup, a great matchup going on. Stingley's going, route for route with Smith. And there was this double move that Smith did. Stingley was there all the way. So I personally just love the guy as a player, and he's a very confident player. And if you go back and look, when he was fully healthy, he was getting the best of Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in practice. He's a very good athlete too, an athletic guy. And I get that the Vikings are ahead of us, but I could see the Vikings taking Hamilton if he's there. And Stingley slips into our hands. And I'm happy with this pick. I feel like if they did this pick, if the Eagles took Stingley right here, I would be very excited with this pick. I think he's a top 2 corner in this class. You could argue he's the best corner in this class. I get that Sauce is a really good player, but Sauce is better in press and zone. He's solid in man. He's just not good as Stingley in man. Stingley is one of the best corners man-to-man. He knows how to stop that, double move. If you try to go a double move on him, he'll go route for route with you. And I'm just a big fan of Stingley as a player. So I think this is a great pick, and if the Eagles do it, I think it would fit their scheme, especially defensively. Now, pick 18, I have the Eagles taking Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean, I think with this pick, I think it can help us out a lot, because Nakobe Dean as a player, he has a high motor, right? And he's one of those type of guys to where, he's not, afraid. He's not shy. He won't back down. And people might look at his size as a concern, right? And they just predicate it around his size. And I think as a middle linebacker, I think this pick would make sense for the Eagles, because, yes, you just got Kaiser White, right? But the thing is, if you take Nakobe Dean right here, you get your middle linebacker. And I understand that linebacker is a, draft, or not a draft, but a need that the Eagles have never hit on or have even tried to look at, especially Howie Roseman. We haven't had a corner, or we haven't had drafted a linebacker since 1979. Marcus Smith was more of a defensive end, not a linebacker. They listed him as a linebacker, but he was more defensive end. And he sucked at that role too. So Nakobe Dean right here at 18 would make a lot of sense because he's 5'11", 229, right? People might call him undersized, but he's actually 6 feet, I think. If you look at the combine, he's 6 feet. Not the tallest guy, but he's very energetic. He's got a high motor. He went side to side, and he knows how to read a defense or a offense. He knows how to stop the running back in the A gap. If the running back tries to go outside on him, Dean's there. Dean is a guy that's really good in coverage. So you don't need your pass rushers to do a lot with him dropping back in coverage. And I think Nakobe Dean, I feel like in the run, that's another part that is really good about his game. And as a middle linebacker, you get a guy like this, and you don't really need Hassan Reddick to drop back in pass coverage, even though he can. And then you just got Kaiser White. That's your Alex Singleton role guy. So I think this is a good pick. Pick 51. I think the Eagles take Jahan Dotson, wide receiver out of Penn State, 5'10", 178. I just love this guy as a player, man. I don't care if he's 5'10", 5'11". I don't care about that. We need a wide receiver number 2, right? And Dotson's everything you want in a playmaker. He's a big play guy. And he did get a lot of jump balls in college. His body control is really good. And you look at body control and what it does for you in the NFL. If you go back and look in last season's statistical stats, Tyler Lockett was the best body control receiver in the NFL. And he's not the tallest guy. And he had a lot of situations where, in like tight situations where the cornerback, there was a couple cornerbacks, they doubled him. And even in triple coverage, they still couldn't stop Tyler Lockett. And Tyler Lockett's not the tallest guy, but he could definitely go up for a jump ball. And he did it a lot last year. And he had the number 1 graded body control in the NFL. And Dotson's body control is absolutely amazing. His athletic ability is amazing. He's an intelligent player. Dotson might need to work on his route running. Yeah, he might need to work on it a little bit. But I think Dotson's got that, it factor about him. He's a playmaker. He can make things happen in big-time situations. And we need guys that can, work in that type of role. A guy that can just come in and give us big-time plays. And I feel like Hurts just need a guy that can, just give him a big-time play. Watkins can do that. I just think we need an X guy next to Smith. And Dotson's just a guy with great body control. And he's got the it factor about him. And, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett make a great duo. Dotson's body control is really good. So is Tyler Lockett's. And I compare Dotson to Darnell Mooney a little bit because of how fast they are. And just because they have that it factor about them. So pick 51 is Dotson. And then pick 83 is Kingsley Engelbar. Kingsley Engelbar, I like this kid a lot. I think he's very versatile. Can play both positions, D tackle, maybe sometimes. And that defensive end role, which he's obviously going to be there. But I like him a lot. I think he's got the right, mold for a defensive end. He's 6'3", 258. And size really doesn't mean a lot. At certain positions, it might mean a lot, but it really doesn't mean anything. If you can play ball, you can play ball. Engelbar's rip has to get better, though. His moves, a couple moves have to get better for him. He's working with a couple moves right now. So if he adds more moves to his package, I think this guy is going to be a baller in the NFL. It's just more about his development, and I think he's more of a 3-4 defensive end type of guy. He fits in more of that role because Engelbar, especially with the technique for him. If he needs to work on more pass rush moves, you have to put him in a system where it can help him develop. And I feel like a 3-4 defense helps him a lot. With Gannon, you really don't know what you're getting. And I feel like Angabar would work in our defense because of the fact that he could just really like get after it. We need those type of guys. I don't know if we're gonna take a defensive end in the first round just because of not having 3 picks now, and then like we need a receiver too, and then like a cornerback. And I could see Howie Roseman going defensive end. Don't get me wrong. It just depends if like Jermaine Johnson slips there or Karlaftis. I think Karlaftis could fall there, but I don't think Howie takes him. I think Howie Roseman really likes Jermaine Johnson. So this is why I have them taking Kingsley Angabar here. They need a guy that they can develop, and he could fit the 3-4 defensive type of role. And right now he's working with a slight pass rush move. So if Gannon can help him in that area, I think he could be a good defensive end for us. All right, pick 101, I have the Eagles taking John Ridgeway. I actually had the Eagles taking him in a mock draft that I did a couple months ago. And that was like my first mock draft I did. And things have changed. But I still have the Eagles taking Ridgeway here. He's 6'5", 321. You know, guy's a very scrappy player. He's got the length, the size for it. He's very physical, a dominant, violent guy. He doesn't fear anything. He's not a guy that's shy of anything, and that's what we need on this team. I think we need guys that can really help us out in that area of like just coming in, not being afraid, and getting after it. And I just personally feel like Ridgeway is one of those type of guys. We need interior depth. And I don't think they take a defensive tackle in that first round. I could see Davis or Wyatt, but I don't think Davis falls that far. And then I just don't think Wyatt is going to be a pick for the Eagles. Like, I love Wyatt a lot. I just don't think the Eagles take him. And I think Ridgeway is a good interior depth piece. He's 6'5", 321, as I said. Great length, great size. And then, like, he's so physical, violent. He ain't scared. That's for sure. So I feel like Ridgeway would be a good pick here for the Eagles with pick 101. And I don't think Fletcher Cox is going to be here after next season. But Ridgeway as interior depth piece, it would work out a lot because you still got Milton Williams. And then you got Javon Hargrave, one of the best nose tackles in the NFL. So pick 101 would be Ridgeway. And I don't know, man. Ridgeway as a depth piece, I think this works out a lot because there's times where Fletcher Cox is tired in the game because obviously he's getting older and they double him. So it's more tasks on him. It's more pressure on him. To where like he has to do the most work out there. So pick 101, we get some interior depth. Pick 124, I have another Georgia player. We get James Cook here, running back out of Georgia. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. He's very versatile. The versatility is a big key with this dude. He's got great hands. He's more than just a runner. He's a good catcher, too. So I think as a player, gives you that running back ability, of course. And he's not really shy of anything, too. So I personally think he would be a good threat in the open field if he gets to that second level, going up against linebackers. And I feel like he has the physicality for it. He's taken snaps before in the backfield. He's lined up as a receiver in the slot. So I personally feel like as a receiver and a running back, he gives you good versatility. Can play both positions. And as a running back, it's just a running back. He gives you physicality, speed, that just threat ability. He can get off and he's not shy, as I said, but as soon as he gets to that second level or that third level, you just can't catch up to him. And I personally feel like we need a guy that has, good hands. There's been times in the past where some of our running backs just can't catch. We got Gainwell, right? But we just can't rely on Gainwell and Sanders. Right now, that's our two running backs. We need another guy there. And I think Cook as a backup running back, or a guy that could just come in and have those, reliable hands and gives you that good, just durability with the physicality of a running back, and then just the threat ability down the field as a running back. And you can move him to slot too, so he can line up at slot kind of like Gainwell can. And I personally feel like James Cook would just be a good depth piece in this running back by committee. Pick 154, I have my guy Smoke Monday. The first thing to note about this guy, bro, is he's a physical hitter. The dude is a baller. First thing, as I noted and I said already, is he is 6'1", 207. And another thing with Smoke Monday is I personally feel like Smoke Monday, in just the way the NFL was going, bro, as soon as he gets into that first game, dog, he's gonna get ejected because he hits too hard. I don't know, man. I think Smoke Monday has the physicality and the right mentality for the position. The dude isn't scared of anything. He's a guy that just will come in, be a leader. We drafted Kayvon Wallace a couple years ago. That's not working out so well. Smoke Monday is a 2-year starter for us at my Auburn Tigers. And the dude can stop the run as well. He's not letting anything happen. And he knows how to tackle. That's one thing with our safeties and our just linebackers. The guys in the box, they don't know how to tackle. Like Singleton, right? Alex Singleton, the linebacker that signed with the Broncos. He couldn't tackle and I guess just the outfield for jack crap. He's good in the middle of the field or just stopping the run. But if a running back or a receiver gets in open field and Singleton's there, he's not stopping it. Or any safeties too. Marcus Epps. Marcus Epps is a good hitter, but in open field, situations, sometimes he couldn't stop tackles. We need guys that have that physicality and strength to tackle, and they know how to secure tackles. And Smoke Monday is that. I personally feel like just this pick alone, it helps us out a lot because he's got that swagger, the right mentality, and then the physicality traits, bro. As a safety, as a hard hitter, we need some of that here. We might sign Matthew. Who knows? Pick 162, I have the Eagles taking Chasen Hines, the guard out of the University of LSU. Big fan of this guy. I think Chasen Hines, I think he's 6'2", 327. He's not the tallest guy, right? But for a guard, I think it'll work out for him a lot because, the guy has physicality, right? Take this with a grain of salt. For those pause watchers, he is a good builded player, and he is a thick player. Pause. I hate saying that. He's a guy that, he doesn't stiffen up because, in certain situations, I feel like for guards, sometimes, defensive tackles make them, stiff pause, in, the football, way. If you get what I'm saying, sometimes, defensive tackles, beat you with that move, and you don't know what's coming with them. So you need the right build for the position. He's got the speed for it. He's physical, as I said. And I think his durability is pretty good too. I think the longevity, you won't have to question that, especially with his build. The dude is just like very physical. The guy is a hard worker, and then like we just need the right players in this locker room. We need the right guys for this locker room. We need guys that can come in and not be locker room crazy. They just won't come in and destroy the locker room. We need guys that can actually help us. And I think Hines can help us. And we lost Brandon Brooks. That's another thing. We lost Brandon Brooks in the offseason. Obviously with the 2 injuries the last couple of years, that definitely hurt him a lot. So with this pick, I think it helps us out a lot because we need depth at the position. We need depth at the offensive line position, period. So we get Chasen Hines here. And then with the next pick, I have the Eagles taking Cole Turner, tight end out of Nevada. He's 6'6", 249, right? He's tall, very tall. He's also got a thick build. Pause. He obviously, his quarterback was Carson Strong, right? At Nevada. So he was one of the pass catchers for Carson Strong. And, he's a very, very tall guy. As I said, he's 6'6". He is a guy that can track the ball very well in, midair. He's got great acceleration, good, explosive ability. Off the line of scrimmage, I think he's pretty good in that area too. He's got a build for a receiver in a way because he's 6'6", 249, right? But he's got that thick, long build. Pause. He's rangy. But he also has that tight end in him. Because as a blocker, I think that's what he also needs to work on. Sometimes he does lose a lot of blocking situations, so he has to get better in that area. I think we need a lot of blocking tight ends. I just think we need some depth at that tight end position, and Cole Turner will fill that out a lot, especially with the size advantage. And he's a good, reliable pass catcher. And then his acceleration with his explosion. I think that can help us out a lot. So Cole Turner is the pick here. You need depth for the tight end position. Dallas Goedert had a pretty good season last year. Sometimes in key situations, Dallas Goedert isn't the most reliable. But for Cole Turner, I'm not saying Cole Turner is reliable because he hasn't even gotten to the NFL yet. But I think he could be a reliable number 2 or 3 because Tyree Jackson got injured last year too. So we need some depth there. And then we lost Zach Ertz last year too. So I feel like with this, and then we also got Jack Stoll. I forgot about him. He's another blocking tight end we need, or we have, I meant to say. So this just fills out tight end number 3. And the last and final pick 273 or 237. I said 273. 237 is Luke Wattenberg. I think the Eagles have ties to this guy too. So he is 6'5", 293. He is a guy that, moves very well for a guard, or I meant to say just a lineman in general. He's got the right finishing moves. Guy with great speed. He's aggressive. He's physical. I think he's technically sound, and he understands like a lot of key angles in certain situations where defensive tackles slightly beat him. He gets that situation where like he gets that pinpoint spot for him, that key spot, and he just gravitates the defensive tackle away or the defensive end away, and like he just knows what he's doing. He's technically sound. I think his foot speed has to get better, and he's not the fastest guy in range speed. So that'll have to get better. And sometimes like there's situations where like his bend isn't the best. So that's something that they'll have to exploit in the NFL. But I personally feel like Luke Waltenberg, for depth pieces in the offensive line, it'll work out a lot. I think the Eagles lack just depth there at the offensive line position. You know, we got Dillard, we got Luke Jariga. I don't even think we got him anymore. He might have left, but we need depth there. And then, you know, Brandon Brooks, obviously he retired. And at some point, Lane Johnson will retire. At some point, maybe after this season, Jason Kelsey will retire. And it sucks. It definitely sucks. And these were the guys that were there for our Super Bowl run when we won it. But at some point, some of these guys are not going to be here. So we have to fill out that position. And pick 237 here, we take Luke Waltenberg from